Okay, great. Well, tell me, do you have time to practice a little bit playing some games? The concept that we discussed yesterday?
You mean just play any type of games out since the lesson?
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, I was so tired after the lesson.
Okay,
I yeah.
that's a good sign, I think.
Sorry.
That's a good sign, I think.
Mm.
The fact that you are tired after the lesson.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. So I was going to actually stream. I was going to take a break. I said on stream that I was going to take just maybe an hour break and then come back, but I never I never did. Yeah. But
Okay.
I did play a couple games this morning. I mentioned that I played that guy from Venezuela actually.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. How was it? How was it? How was the game?
It was pretty good. We went down a bit of theory in the opening, like maybe 15 moves or so, and it was a draw. I guess he was a national master in Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
I think an older player though, but I'll take a draw. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, um, probably we are going to play some games if we have time today. I want you
Okay.
to see. I want to see you on live. Maybe that would be
Okay.
great.
Okay.
Okay, but first of all, let's start. Let me create the studio on Lichess, sorry, and let me
Okay.
send you the invitation there.
Okay. So it's a different one than before. I'm in the one that we were in yesterday. Still.
Oh no no, yeah, it's another one.
Okay.
I'm going to create another one, yeah, with new positions basically. So okay, now I send you the invitation to always DC. Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, and the invitation should appear in your screen
Yeah. Not
now.
yet. Yeah. Not yet. I don't know why.
Well,
Uh,
let's do what we did yesterday. I'm going
yeah.
to copy and paste the link on
Yeah.
Skype.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
much.
yeah. It's strange, hey, that I don't get the invitation.
Yeah, it's really really strange. It's the first time it happens on Lichess. Not quite sure why.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay, I'm
But I'm
going
not. I'm not
to
a contributor.
exactly. Let me
Okay.
convert you a contributor. Okay, it doesn't let me today. Why it doesn't let me? Let me see if I create. Let me see if it works in this way. And you see the position, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Ooh,
try to
this yeah
play
almost
any
looks
move.
like a Victor Vouser or
It's similar,
yeah,
yeah.
similar to something like that, or a type of Bishop G5 Sicilian Nidorf maybe.
Mhm. Well, try to play any move with white,
Okay.
and maybe in that way I can yeah, make you a contributor then. Not sure if it's possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it won't let me now, but if you go to contributor, you have to go in there we go.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now.
Um, yeah. Okay. So you want me to play a move?
No, 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 no.
No.
Now that you are a contributor, now let's think about the position a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Well, today we are going to practice a little bit more the process of calculation, but I want to mention another topic which is quite important. Okay, it's the thing about blundering pieces. Okay, which I think we can work on a little bit. It's the job and the thought process that I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you it's quite simple. Okay, let's practice the position from the black's perspective. Okay, so imagine that you're playing with black. Something that I always use in my games because I had this problem in the past too. I used to blunder a lot, always. Maybe that would be a better word. Always, I used to blunder. It's something that in books it doesn't appear really. I mean, you don't get a book about blundering pieces, about how not blunder pieces. It's something that people just say. hey, but don't blunder, and that's all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's more difficult than that, actually. Okay, so I finished creating a question that it helps a lot in a real situation. So imagine that you're playing with with black, and white play the move rook h to e1. After this move, the first thing I want you to do in a real situation, in a real game, is ask yourself the simple question: what does my opponent want to do? It's really, really simple, but and you might think that you are doing in a real game, but sometimes we are not aware of that. Basically, okay, we don't ask ourselves this question in a consensus way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, what is my opponent trying to do after rook h e1? What do you think it's white trying to achieve?
Well, the very first thing I consider is e5.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So the second question would be, is that dangerous for us?
Well, I'm a very scared player, so I think everything is dangerous. I'm scared of everything. Like I never let off. Like I'm terrified the whole game. Um,
Okay, it's a similar style to Tiger Petrosian, maybe.
okay. Oh, you're right. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. So okay, yeah, e5 actually it's quite dangerous because imagine what happens if we play something stupid like a king h8, just to put an example.
mhm.
E5, then we need to take. After take, we counter capture with the knight because obviously the pawn is well protected, and we need to go backwards with the knight, something that we don't want actually, right? We never want to that. So basically, yeah, e5 is a problem. So now the third step is how can you avoid that? How can you avoid e5 in a good way? What do you think?
Well, we can play e5 ourselves.
Yeah, that's the second best move in this position. And it's the second best move in this position because it avoids e5, but you
It,
are also weakening a lot your position, and
yeah.
the d5 square is going to be then in the future a problem. For example, something like knight b3 and knight d5 might be coming, also then pawn d6. It's
Yeah,
coming
I'm
also.
also slightly scared of f5.
Mm.
Possibly, I'm a little bit nervous about that. Okay, so how can we stop e5?
Or at least try to make e5
Hmm.
not that good.
I'm taking a look at it's kind of hazy to me, but looking at knight c5 with the idea of playing knight f e5, but that doesn't work. Okay, give me a
Yeah,
second
actually, the
here.
idea might. The reason behind the idea is quite interesting because 95 is giving another square for the knight, a better one at least, 97. But the point is that once we play e5, the problem is not only that the knight has no good square, it's also the thing that white is jumping with the knight to d5, another important square. Once the knight is out of the square. So yeah, it's not easy to find a good way to avoid e5, right?
Yeah. Well, I haven't found it yet.
Well, if you play e5 in a real situation, I mean that would be at least the second best option, so it's great. The thing is that we don't want to weak our position, moving too many pawns. And right
Mhm.
now, the move that it's the best move in this position for black to protect, to defend, is knight b6. But knight b6 with the idea that now e5 it's not a problem because now what is the square, the most powerful square for the knight after e5, for example? Pawn takes, and yeah, in the variation where the knight can go.
Well, I can go to d7.
D7 it's possible, but it's a little bit passive. Okay.
Oh, well, I guess
Mm,
I guess we could also go to d5.
exactly, yeah. And we see that now e5 is not a problem actually for us because after white play e5, pawn takes, knight f to d5, we are protecting e7, we have the open C line for some of our rooks and create some threat of checkmate at some point. And well, actually knight d5 is not a problem because it's well protected. And you see that black is totally okay here, right?
Yeah, it's resembling a bit of a dragon structure now.
Yeah, actually this game is from it's from a dragon variation of the Sicilian. Yeah, that's right. So basically this is the concept, okay? The simple 3 steps. First of all, what does my opponent want to do? Okay, let's try to imagine discover what he's trying to achieve. Then we need to ask ourselves if it's dangerous, okay? Because sometimes actually my opponent is not doing anything, and it happens a lot when the opponent plays something like a3. He's not doing anything, so we don't have to bother about basically. But when my opponent is trying to achieve something, we need to avoid it basically, okay? And that's a good way to avoid blunders in chess, okay? So do you have any doubt about these concepts?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying because sometimes, like, usually I ask myself, like, okay, well, like, why did my opponent play that move? But yeah, sometimes once in a while you forget to ask yourself, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's simple, and we always at some point do it, but sometimes we forget basically to do it in every single move.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's practice with some positions. For example, this one over here. Imagine that you're playing with black, okay, and your opponent played the move bishop h6. How will you think here?
Okay. Should I look at it from white's perspective? Is it okay to flip the board? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that there is an option to flip the board.
Sorry, you said it's okay or not okay?
Yeah, for sure it's okay.
Okay. So black to move here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to get an overview of what's going on here. So looks like equal material. We have some weak dark squares on the king side. There is an undefended knight on c2. White has a strong bishop, and we got strong dark square control in the center. Okay, so just still getting an overall picture of what's going on here. Yeah, the first thing I looked at, just because it's just the way I work. The first thing I looked at was bishop takes g3. I know it doesn't lead to anything, but I always just look at that first, just for a few seconds, just to see if there's anything possible.
That's great. It's like a check that it doesn't work that we took up yesterday.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, just to see, right? In the one like the 0.5% chance there's something. Okay, so yeah, that doesn't work. And because basically my instinct is to see if we can ignore that bishop and if we could counterattack. That's like the first thing. That's why I was looking at bishop takes g3. And then the second thing I look at is knight e3. I don't see anything that really comes out of that I like. Because for one thing, we'll just, at minimum, we'll lose the pawn. If knight takes. So at minimum, we'll lose a pawn. And then I keep looking, I'm looking at possible double attacks like queen c7, because now we are hitting g3 twice and we're hitting the knight. But that still doesn't pan out because h takes g3. Sorry?
No, yeah, and the pawn on g3 is well protected by the queen on e1 too.
Yep. Yeah, so because if I don't have to, I don't like to react to my opponent's threats. So that's why I was looking at all that first. Now that I don't seem to see any type of counter attacking, although I still want to give a little bit more time to that knight on c2. That is really catching my eye. I mean, it's just kind of hanging out there, totally undefended. Just want to give a little bit. yeah, I still don't think I can do anything with that, but it's so tempting. It's so tempting to just look at Queen C7. But yeah, I don't see a tactic there. So, okay, so our rook is under attack. I don't want to trade bishops here because that will leave our king with weak dark squares. Um, so the most natural move to look at would be rook d8. Um, and it seems safe enough to me. I don't see why that would be bad. It's just such. It's like the very most basic move, so I'm skeptical about it. You know.
No, I actually created this example for that reason. Because right now, black, I mean, the most basic move that one player would play here is rook e8, but
Mhm.
there are so many good ideas like 93. The thing that this line is unprotected that sometimes we can get confused in the position and we get, for example, confused with this line and we want to make this line work when it's impossible, basically.
Mm,
So yeah, right now the right move is rook e8. A
mm,
simple move,
mm.
but it's great. And I also want to see I also wanted to see your thought process. And it's okay. The thing that you are not reacting to your opponent. Okay, that's great. That's a good process. And I want you to keep that. Really, it's something that not many players apply in a real chess game.
Okay. Yeah,
Great.
yeah. My thought process is often weird. I kind of go backwards. Like I look at the craziest stuff first, and then I work backwards. Like as you saw. Uh,
No, but that's okay because
mm,
we never know when the crazy stuff
mm,
might work.
mm,
And when they do, we are Mihaital.
mm.
Okay, let's move on to the next position. Now we are going to get more complicated positions where perhaps the opponent's threat is not easy to find. So, for example, right now, imagine again that you are playing with black and your opponent played the move queen e4. How would you think now with the black pieces?
Okay. The first thing I see is I would like to improve our light scored bishop. That's kind of a sad bishop. It does have a job of protecting e6, but other than that, I think it's just a tall pawn. Um, Also, our knight on h7 is terrible as well. I would really like to improve that. I'm thinking about maybe putting it on g6. That would be a good start to things, um, a great start. So, knight f8 to g6 is looking quite promising already because we've got four pieces attacking that poor Isolani, which can't be protected by another pawn. So that right now is my candidate move. That's my go-to move. I will look at some other stuff, but definitely knight f8 to g6 is like if this was a blitz game, I'm playing that. We have to be a bit careful about bishop d3. That could be a problem, but well, maybe no buts. That is kind of dangerous. So if I started knight f8, bishop d3, that's annoying. Um, I yeah, uh, there is one.
Huh?
Then we could actually go. Oh wait, no, that doesn't quite work. Um,
Actually,
that
I'm happy that you saw analyze the first thing, which is that the opponent wants to play bishop d3 to threat checkmate. Yeah, that's the opponent's threat.
yeah,
So is that dangerous? Maybe yes, maybe not. But how can we play there? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, well, it was the third thing I looked at, but um,
Okay.
but I wasn't. I started to look at it once I had a good candidate move in mind. Yeah, so I mean, I've only just noticed now that e5 is actually hanging at the moment. Um, so maybe that's why the move order. Well, that shouldn't even matter. I mean, okay, so I'm just wondering. I guess our rook would fall if we started with the bishop. So if bishop takes e5 and knight takes e5, we could recapture with the queen, actually. And I think that is totally safe. I don't see why it wouldn't be, because we're challenging his queen, so he can't move his knight f3 or anything. So his queen would, yeah. So bishop takes e5, knight takes e5, queen takes e5. That looks good or not? That looks good to me. That looks pretty good to me.
The only problem is that the idea behind queen e4 for white is that after you play bishop e5, he's not going to play knight f5. We have to remember the main idea for black, which is for white, sorry, which is bishop e3.
He can still play that. Oh, right. I guess he can still.
Exactly.
Well, but if he does that, I had a plan of doing something like bishop e8.
For example, and what happened in the position, bishop e8.
Yeah. So
now knight e5 is possible. Because you can't capture with the queen right away. You see?
Yeah, our rook is still.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, tricky. So bishop takes e5, knight takes e5. Sorry. Bishop takes e5, bishop d3. Just trying to see if I can make this work. I'm greedy, remember? I like my pawn. I want the pawn if I can.
I see.
Like I'll try whatever I can to get it. So I'm wondering about knight f8 then. So bishop takes e5, bishop d3, knight f8.
Does it work?
Well, it looks good to me so far.
This is another thing that I want to introduce. Okay, when you're calculating lines, okay, when you are considering your opponent's move, in that case, you should ask yourself what are the most aggressive moves from my opponent. It doesn't matter that at first they look stupid and horrible. We need to check them to be aware that we are not blundering. So for example, in that line, bishop takes e5, bishop d3, and it seems like after knight f8, that's everything. That's okay for black because black has a pawn up. But in that position, what is the most aggressive move that you can see with white?
Well, the craziest one would be queen h7, and then knight takes f7.
Okay, great. It doesn't work, but it's what's another one?
There's knight g5.
And what happened in the line?
Well, let's say h takes, so hg, and then now white has a rook to play with.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
that's the idea.
So I guess then rook takes f8. Okay.
And queen h7 checkmate. Yeah. It's easy to find tactical shoots for us. It's not that easy to find tactical shoots from the opponent.
Yeah. And like 100%, I would miss that like in a game. I think even over the board, like classical time control, I'm quite certain I would not see knight g5, knight takes g5.
Great. So we are going to start applying this in our real games. Okay. Once we decide what is our next move, trying to calculate, imagine that you decide that bishop e5 is your next move. Before moving it, you are going to stop and you are going to see, okay, what is the most aggressive way that my opponent can play? And you are going to find that most of the cases, moves like that don't work, but we need to check them basically. So actually, you had a.
So sorry if I just interrupt slightly. So it's really similar actually to what we were talking about yesterday, like with the queen, except now we're looking at it that our opponent can
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the same, but in the other side. You are totally right. Because as we said earlier, it's easy to find tactics for us, but it's not easy to find tactics from the opponent, and that's why we blunder sometimes because we don't see those tactical shoots basically. Yeah. And actually, you have a good intuition because knight f8, it's the good move here because now bishop d3 actually doesn't make too much sense because it's not threatening anything right now. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we can play something like knight f5 now. If no, our knight f5 is not possible because we have the thing of rook f8. But my opponent is threatening right now knight g5, right? The move that we talked earlier. So how can we avoid it with black? Or at least try to make knight g5.
Mm-hmm.
That it doesn't work, basically.
I'm looking at queen d8 to start. It seems a little silly though to move the queen just to prevent that, but it would prevent it.
You sure it
There,
would prevent queen knight takes g5?
would that still
Why
be mate?
it would
Would that? Oh, that's
prevent? Yeah.
can't yeah, yeah, because then if knight takes g5, we can go h takes g5, and if rook takes, then we can take with. Oh, right, okay. Okay, so another move I was thinking of here was king g8. So if the rook takes on f8, we can take with the king.
That's actually a good creative way to play, and I think it works. Actually, I didn't look at that move. King g8, it's a solid way to play this. Yeah, because knight g5 now it doesn't work. So yeah, king g8, but yeah, king g8 is a possible solution to all the problems for black.
Yeah, I was thinking we could even possibly take with the bishop. Not as good, but we have a flight square with f7, so.
Yeah, and then this pawn, as you said, is going to be attacked later in the game because it's already pawn. Yeah. Right. Actually, I had like answer bishop e8, which is another way. Again, your idea of bishop g6 is the same, but also because now the queen participates in the defense. Because now the problem is that after rook takes f8, bishop takes, and there is no checkmate for this 7 rank. Okay. Basically, what we learned from this position is that we need to focus on the most aggressive move from the opponent when we are calculating lines, okay? When we are making our move, okay?
Yeah, and it's extra hard because you threw that, that's in the middle of the calculation. It's not the first move.
Exactly, yeah, that's the hard part, basically. Yeah. Okay, great.
So you basically have to do that with every single move?
I always do it in my real games, to be honest. Yeah, I do it. The thing is that I now don't consume much time basically doing it because most of the time, again, the moves that you are calculating, they don't work, and you can discard them by, I don't know, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. It's like the thing with bishop g3 that you calculate in the last position. It's almost the same in a real situation. The only thing is that right now, you are playing with black in a not active position, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So let's move on to the next position. Yeah, this one. And let's try to play the same. Okay. Imagine that you are playing with black. How would you think here? Again, position where we are a little bit slightly worse.
I think it's kind of a fun position though. I mean, I like this pawn storm going on. I mean, okay, let's see here. Yeah, so obviously those D and E pawns are annoying, but I like my A, B, and C pawns. I really do. Yeah, and I'm potential. It's black to move, right?
Yeah, it's black to move.
Yeah, I'm already eyeing like queen A5 is looking appetizing. Even if I'm just looking, it's far too early to do something like queen E5. Knight D5 to get the queen there. But it's just as you know, I look for the craziest stuff first. That's just how
Right,
I
right.
always do that. Um, okay, so but anything like that is going to be far too slow. Like we're just that's we don't have enough pieces nearby. The pawns aren't advanced enough.
Yeah,
That's far too slow. Because I,
we can't
yeah, even
checkmate
if
with the queen only.
yeah, and even if we play something like c3, that's just that leads to absolutely nothing. So now I'm looking at maybe I can chip away at these stupid pawns in the middle of the board. um, but I don't know. Okay, so the e5 pawn is heavily guarded, so I'm going to forget that one for now. I'm now looking at the d5 pawn because that's only supported by the rook and it may be a bit overextended. We're attacking it once already. Potentially we have a move like knight b6 where suddenly we're attacking it three times. He can't defend it with the queen because the queen would be, well, a defender. He could defend it in two ways, not counting counter-attacking opportunities. So if we go knight b6, he could play knight c6, but that still doesn't work because we have two knights and a queen. Um, so the other way for white would be to push it and play d6. So
Yeah,
so knight b6, d6, and that now we have to work it on that. So the most obvious move, at least for consideration, would be ed. So e takes d6, but that looks pretty nasty because the knight could take even.
yeah,
Um,
and there are tons of lines
yeah,
open for
yeah,
attack or queen. Yeah,
yeah. So I'm not sure if we have something. So knight b6 and then d6. Um, if we can't take, the only other thing we could do there is move the other knight. We could get superfluous knights by playing knight fd5, but I still don't like that position. I still, and then there's then white has even d takes e7. So
yeah, and opening all the lines. Yeah,
yeah, so I think I'm gonna have to abandon that for now, knight b6, and look elsewhere.
great. So, and you got the basically the main point of the white position, which is that he's going to advance one of those pawns to open lines. D6 or A6 is coming at some point. So yeah, we need to see how can we play against those pawns.
Yeah, I
What
could.
can we do?
Yeah, I could blockade one with or challenge one with e6. There's two things we have to look at. Actually, there's three, but because I was looking, if we go e6, potentially the weird knight d6 is possible. But I think then we'll probably just take
D5.
on d5. Yeah, and
That's
so
all. Yeah.
okay, so e6, and then so there's two moves. There's there's d6, but then we might be able to just get an outpost, play knight d5. Um, it's it seems reasonable enough. Um, and if we go e6, d takes e6, we simply have knight takes e6, and now we have a knight blockading his Isolani. It seems that seems reasonable to me.
That is a move you would play in a real game.
E6. I would need to look it over a little bit more, but yeah, it's looking like a real candidate move here. The question I have is, what will I do if white doesn't push the pawn? Like, what if he just plays something like rook h e1? I guess I'm threatening to take on d5, so I guess he can't afford to do that. So that certainly e6 is certainly looking good. I guess one more move I see for white is e6 knight f3, but still I would just take there, and I think we remove a lot of White's threats here. So yeah, I think e6,
Yeah,
e6.
that's the
Yeah.
correct move here.
Okay.
And I'm quite happy that you found that move. Yeah, e6 is the move. E6 is the move because you are avoiding all the ideas for white to open the position, because after e6, the only way to open this position a little bit more with white is to take on e6, and it doesn't help him a little too much, because after we take with the knight, this position is, I mean, it's still worse for black, but it's the most reasonable yeah, option basically. And as you say, if d6, we are going to blockade that pawn with knight d5, and now the position is too much closed. And also another point with e6 is that we are blocking this bishop over here. Yeah. Now there is no action over this bishop and the knight. Because, for example, something that could happen is that if we play something like a5, e6 might be a good move to attack the pawn that knight is setting at some point. So yeah, e6 is the move. And as you said, if knight f6, we are going to take. We are going to take, and let's see what is the opponent going to do. Because after, for example, yeah, it's still working. I don't. How would you take here? Well, that's the first question. With the bishop, the knight, or the queen?
Maybe I don't even take it. Like the first thing I would, since I look at, like, I always look at the contrarian moves. I look at the weird moves first. So the first move I would look at is king h8. Yeah.
It's okay.
Which I think.
Does it work?
Well, I don't think it's the worst move in the world, but I don't think it's the best. I don't really.
What is the most aggressive reply from my opponent if we play king h8?
Most aggressive reply. Well, we might need to actually start to be scared of something like knight g5, and then the queen gets to h4. Could possibly be dangerous, but there's also e takes d6. Sorry, d takes e6. Yeah. And that is getting quite uncomfortable quickly. If we go, then knight takes. Oh yeah, sorry. Then d7 falls. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, king h8. I mean, I don't think about it too serious, but it's. I often look at moves like that just because I don't like my opponent to dictate what's going on. It's like, you know, okay. I don't like him telling me what to do. So, okay. So great. Let's see. We can.
Oh, that's great. That's actually great, because there is something in chess called. Oh, I don't know the name in English. It would be something like conditional reflex, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Which is basically the thing that you play reactive chess. Okay. People tend to, when they are attacked, they tend to defend, protect. Like, for example, if my queen is attacked, I need to move my queen. And actually, that's a bad approach, because we should first of all look at possible counter attacks.
Yeah, be more creative, more open, right? Yeah, to ideas.
Sometimes not too much, but yeah, sometimes. But yeah.
Okay, so if I take knight takes f6. Again, I'm just looking. I'm not looking at the pawn recapture. I'm just looking at anything weird first, because possibly there's some weird stuff like e6. Like if we go knight takes f6, e6 is something you have to consider, which is annoying.
Yeah, for a little moment. Yeah, we need to.
That's actually an annoying move. Knight takes f6, e6, or sorry, d6, I mean. So knight takes f6, d6. I guess we're still good there. Then we just play knight f to d5. And if he takes on f6, then bishop or queen takes f6. Actually, queen takes f6 might be interesting.
Yeah, a checkmate, right?
Yeah. Although then there's bishop e5. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But also, in that position, for example, knight takes f6, Yeah, d6 might be an option. I don't think it's the most aggressive option here for white because white has, for example, a simple move like pawn takes f6. It's too much. It's really, really dangerous for us because, for example, if you take with the queen,
Yeah.
bishop e5 is coming,
Yeah.
and then bishop c7 because we are hanging our knight, for example. And also, if we take with the bishop, that's not possible because pawn takes c6 is attacking our queen on d8. So basically, if king h8 and knight f6 don't work, this is the case where an offer move is the only possible one, which is bishop takes f6. It's an offer move because we never want to give that bishop,
Yeah.
but right now it's necessary. And also because the line helps us a lot because right now I'm sure that you can see the move with black.
Well, knight takes f6. I don't want to drop the knight on c7.
Yeah, though, between this pawn and this pawn, what do you think is the most right now, the most dangerous?
Yeah, I guess we can always grab that f6 pawn later. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I have to decide now how I would want to recapture the d5 pawn.
That's a good question. With the knight or with the pawn?
Yeah. It looks like we have to take what's the knight. Otherwise, if we take what's a pawn, there's bishop takes. There's a intermezzo or a Zwischenzug of bishop takes c7, and then the rook can take on d5.
Yeah. So with that in mind, yeah, knight takes d5, and we still have to be careful in this position with black because in three moves there has checkmate here.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, man. That's why I wanted to take f6.
No, but exactly. I mean, right now it's not possible.
Yeah, we have king h8
and f6. Yeah, but we have to be aware of that. At some point, that might be a threat.
Yeah.
But still, it's playable for black. Okay, we found the best way to play this offer position from here, and that's great. Totally great. So basically, yeah, the work that it's quite useful in our games. They are the two main tools to not blunder in a game. It's first of all, be conscious about the opponent's threat after his move, and once we decide our next move, we are going to see what is the most aggressive, craziest opponent's reply. Okay.
Okay.
So, and again, something that we shouldn't spend like more than 1 or 2 minutes at least calculating those kind of moves because or they work, or they seem interesting, or they don't work. Basically, the answer is to find those cases. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So, do you have any doubts? Something you want to ask me about this example?
No, it makes total sense to me. Yeah.
Let's move on to probably the most famous example of this thing about blunders. It's this one.
Oh, what? Okay, let's see if I know it. No, okay. I don't know it. No.
You don't know it?
No, I don't
know.
know.
From a World Championship. It's the most famous.
Man, you would think Woodpecker should have it, but I don't know this one.
Well, imagine that you're playing with black, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and your opponent played the move rook d1. How do you think here with black?
Okay. Well, I'll just think out loud.
Yeah, sure.
So again, I can't help it. I look at the weirdest moves first. I look at rook b3. It completely doesn't work, but I like my king. I like my active king. Like it'd be nice to slip into those light squares on the king side there. I'm just taking. This is just what I'm thinking of.
Well, first of all, let me tell you that rook b3 is the first move we should consider in our thought calculation process, so it's okay. But then when we realize that it doesn't work, yeah, we need to.
Yeah. I abandoned that already. Yeah.
Great.
I definitely have not seen this before, though. Let's see. Can you tell me who played it? Just out of curiosity.
Okay. White is Dragan Petroshev.
White is okay.
and black is Boris Spassky
Okay.
from the World Championship of how it's pronounced 1969.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I'm looking at the position. So far, I don't have anything that is. I don't have any ideas. I'm still looking.
Right.
Very interesting. I would like to. I mean, I don't really like where the bishop is. If I could reroute that along the long diagonal here, possibly that would be nice.
Great.
I'm just trying to think.
And I think that we need to be aware about what my opponent wants to do. What is the idea behind rook d1?
Well, he's got a discovery. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So I'm looking where he could create that discovery. I guess he could be hitting. He could hit a5. He could hit a5. So that is a threat. So if he goes knight b3, for example, a5 can fall. So knight b3. Yeah, knight b3 is a worry. Although, if he takes on b3, I don't know if he's getting out alive. I guess he could, because he might be able to take on c4. Knight takes c4. He might be able to get out that way.
That's true.
So, yeah, there's that. There's also simply just taking on f5. I guess that would be simpler.
Yeah. Between both, well, actually both of them work for white, but yeah, I mean the simplest is this one. And once we realize that, we need to figure out how to play, how to protect, how to play against this this threat.
Yeah, so I mean the most natural move would be to get the king out of that discovery. So we have so we have basically two moves to consider. There's king e4, which is the first move I will look at, but that allows possibly f3, and then if we go to king e5, now we lose the rook. So yeah, so therefore we would have to take, which is scary, taking on e3 rather. I'm just scared of that because it looks like there might be a mating net there. Possibly. I don't know if there is or not, but it looks scary. So let's say king takes e3. Let's say rook e1 check. I just don't like. I don't know. I don't know if my king can survive way out there.
Okay.
So let me do that again. So king e4. Yeah, f3. King takes e3. I'm wondering if knight c2 is that's getting really dangerous for us. Although if we go knight c2, then king takes f3, so that might not work. So okay, so king takes e3 and circle back to rook e1 check.
Okay.
And
what do you think in a position?
I don't know. I don't know if it seems like our king might be able to survive that. Like king f2.
Okay.
Like I don't know. I think I just feel like black is getting away with that. So yeah. So one more time. King e4, f3. King takes e3. Rook e1. King f2. Yeah, I don't know. To me, that looks like black gets away with that. I don't see how white can continue there. So I think, I mean, I didn't even look at King E5 yet, but King E5, yeah, doesn't. We already know, yeah, that doesn't work. So yeah, King E4.
King E4 is your move.
Yeah, well, when you ask me like that, yeah.
Well, let me tell you that you played like a champion master, yeah, like a world champion master.
Why?
And like a champion world master, you blunder this time in the
Okay.
world
Okay.
championship
Good.
because
I play like Spassky. Did Spassky did this then?
yeah, it's basket
Oh,
with
okay.
clock pieces. Yeah, because yeah, it's the most natural move. The only thing is that you were right. After f3, king e3. Right now, yeah, we need to consider checks first, so we need to consider rook e1. But once we analyze that after king f2, rook e2, king g1, there is no more checks, and the king is incredible safe in that square, we should discard that line. But so if checks don't work, there are no captures here. We can make play something else to threat a checkmate here. How can we?
Oh, C4 is looking, or F4 is looking interesting.
F4, okay.
Yeah.
What is exactly?
Well, I'm just thinking if I can get the rook on F3.
Okay, yeah, that should be made.
Yeah.
But I think there is a faster way to checkmate the opponent.
What the heck? Oh well, I guess. I think rook D2.
The simple move that it at some point blow your mind. Yeah, rook d2.
Yeah, because once I noticed that this kind of like the hook mate, this structure. Yeah, rook D2. Oh, that's so hard to find in mid calculation.
It's hard to find. It's hard to find, and more from this position. Yeah, totally. And maybe that's the reason why Spassky blundered. Yeah, for sure. Because yeah, I mean, we tend to calculate right away checks, but we don't stop in our calculation process. Something that we talked also yesterday. At some point in one position, we need to stop and see what are all the possible moves.
Yeah, it did look dangerous, right? Like I was very hesitant to do this, right? Because it looked dangerous, but I didn't see. Yeah, I didn't see how it was done. The funny thing is now that you see it, like that rook d2, now it just looks so obvious, right?
Yeah, it happens. It happens, yeah. So actually, if we think about possible moves for black, there is only one. Can you find it?
Well, if we want to move the king, we have two moves that I'm looking at. There's king f5, and king c5, and there's the that must be the only move. Otherwise, white can take on f5.
That's right.
Yeah. So king c5. What's the added benefit of now the king? I mean, the king is useful on both sides. Now the king can maybe help attack this a3 pawn later too.
Yeah, at some point, for sure. And you see that in this position, actually, it's a good it's a good endgame for black. So yeah, king c5, just easy move, okay? And yeah, the thing is that what we need to do is that if we want to play king e4, we want to calculate the most aggressive reply from the opponent, and I'm happy that you found f3, which is the most aggressive and the most aggressive. Yeah, sure. So yeah, this is an example from the World Championship.
I'm surprised Woodpecker doesn't have that one. I really am. Oh, you know what? You know what? It's possible. I didn't do the advanced section in Woodpecker. It might be in there.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I did. It's split up into easy, intermediate, and advanced. And advanced is there's only about 150 or so puzzles in advanced, but I didn't do those because I think they're too hard for me right now.
I have to look at to look at them. Yeah.
Mm.
Now I'm curious about stream
Yeah.
points. Great. Okay. So do you have any doubts? Something you want to ask me until here?
No,
Everything is
no,
clear.
no. Everything's clear. Yeah, I'll definitely
Okay.
let you know if I'm not certain on something.
Great, great. Okay. So please give me a little break
Sure. Yes, it's
of
halfway through.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. Can you
Welcome
hear me?
back. Yeah.
How is the stream? How is
Dead. I normally don't stream this early. That's why people usually they know when I'm streaming, and
mm,
I usually stream about a couple hours from now. But that's okay. It'll be available as a VOD and on YouTube later. So
or do you have a YouTube channel too?
yeah, I've got a YouTube channel. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite impressive.
I thought that's where you saw my videos yesterday, but I guess you just watched them on
On
Twitch.
Twitch, yeah, on Twitch, but you know that, and when once you stream on Twitch, you have those streams there,
Mm-hmm.
the past streams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw one of them that you were playing 3 minutes games.
Yeah.
And
I've taken a bit of a break from classical lately, just because what I tend to do is I like to rotate the time controls, and I set a new personal best on one of them, and then
mm,
rotate to the other ones.
that's great. That's great actually because people to improve in chess blitz, we need first of all to improve our classical and rapid games because basically what you are going to do by playing blitz chess is that you are playing with all your instincts. Okay, you are playing 100% by intuition, and the only way to improve our intuition is to improve our knowledge that we have about chess. So actually, it's a problem that I had previous in some years ago. Is that I used to play good rapid and classical chess, but I was bad at blitz
Mm.
actually. And then, yeah, I realized. I think it was a grandmaster. I don't remember his name. That he explained in a book that the only way to improve in blitz chess is actually concentrate in rapid and classical games.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir here. I agree with you 100%. This is what I tell everybody. I say, the longer the time control, the better. And like with bullet and blitz, you're basically just showing what you already know, and it's not very good for improvement at all. You can improve in it, but it's going to take like 10 times longer. So I agree with you 100%. I'm just um, in general, I don't play that much blitz, so I'm kind of just making up for a bit of lost time. If you look at my account, I do have a lot of classical games under it. Um,
And what is the time that you played in those classical games?
well, it used to be 15 plus 15, and then about a year ago, Lichess changed. They changed that as one of their default times. So now the default time is 30 plus 0. So most of my games are 30 plus 0 now, just because that's on their front page, that's their default time control. Yeah.
Yeah. And more people play just that time count. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, sometimes I still play 15 plus 15 because I go into the pool, the custom time pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes I play
Yeah.
15 plus 15. I prefer 15 plus 15 over 30 plus 0, but it takes longer. It takes a long time to find a game, especially like
Yeah.
the higher rated you go. Sometimes I have to wait like 15 minutes to get a game.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's
Yeah.
that's another problem. I also was thinking about finding what is it called yeah, a sparring for you to play some classical rapid games
Oh.
because yeah, in that way I can see it's like uh, to know how you are improving, how you are improving basically. To have an sparring where you can play against him, like for example, once a week or
Mm-hmm.
once 2 weeks, classic or rapid games.
Okay.
I think could be quite useful.
Okay. A sparring partner.
What is your yeah, exactly? What is your opinion on that?
Yeah. I've never done that before.
Okay, that would be interesting. Yeah. Okay. So let's come back to the studio.
Okay.
Let's see one more position of this.
But yeah, I just so you're not too
Yeah.
so that you're not too concerned. I totally agree, and I do. I normally put in most of my time in the longer time controls, and I normally try to fit in at least one classical game a day. This little Blitz thing I'm on, it's more recent. I'm just and I'm
Oh,
trying,
that's totally.
yeah, and I'm trying to repair my rating because it was 2112, and then it dropped, and I'm just starting to repair it now. So um,
No, that's totally alright. To play
one
Blitz is totally alright.
yeah, one benefit, maybe the only benefit of Blitz is it does help. Like you get a lot more opening practice, um, and
That's totally
I
true. That. Mhm.
and I put a lot of time even in my Blitz games. After the Blitz games, I still analyze them without the engine first, and then with the engine. So I do still analyze them, even though they're Blitz. So I do get some learning out of it still.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. That's actually, yeah. I saw on your stream that it's one of your good habits is that after you play the game, you go for analyzing that game
Mm.
first of all you and then the
Mm-hmm.
computer. I see that in your streams, and that's
Mm.
quite useful.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think that we can improve a lot from playing blitz games, but something that we have to get in a conscientious way because we have to analyze the game. Some
Mm.
people, what people do is that they play blitz and they play like 50
Yeah,
games in a day.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah,
And they don't
and they don't
analyze them.
analyze everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So okay, let's see. This position is quite interesting because it's from another, where it's not a champion, but it's almost a world champion. Okay, playing with black.
Yeah, almost looks like
And
a Rui Lopez.
yeah, also it seems like French because we have
Mm.
this bad
Mm.
bishop
Yeah,
here.
I'm just
And
wondering
the
how
pawn.
the F pawn is. Where? Oh yeah, the missing F pawn would be French. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So let's try to think like the world champion. Let's try to think with black. Okay. And first of all, it's the white turns,
Oh, it's
and
what?
white played bishop c2.
Okay.
And now the question is, how do you think it is not complicated position yet with black?
So the very first thing I'm looking at is okay. I want to sack the
Bishop
exchange.
is to check.
No, no. I want to sack the exchange on F3.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's the first thing that jumps out to me. Um,
Okay.
I must say that H5 looks interesting as well. Um, a scary move to play, but it's just something that I look at. Um, if we look at the threats from white, I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but that's how I operate. If we look at the threats from white, obviously I don't like this pin I'm in, and white
Uh-huh.
could challenge it. Um, I mean, white could challenge the knight that is protecting my queen right now. I'm trying to see how the best. Like I'm just thinking if white moved the knight and then g4, that could be a problem. Like even a move like knight d5 could be a problem. Well, yeah, because like knight d5 and then like takes and then g4. That's what I'm worried about.
Mm,
Um,
great, great that you have that threat of your opponent in mind.
yeah.
Now let's go to the hard thing: how to deal with this threat or what to do.
Yeah, well, a simple, I mean, the most natural move, if it was like a blitz game or a bullet game, would be just to move the queen, like queen f7. Um, so if queen
Okay.
f7, let's say a knight goes to e5, I'm not sure which one, probably the g knight. So knight g e5.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, yeah, knight g e5. The problem was that, okay, I guess I would probably want to move the queen again. Um, Not sure where. Ooh, that's looking nasty though. If we move the queen again, there's bishop g5. So, um,
Mm-hmm.
so, and I and if we take on e5, that is just bad for us. So if we go queen f7, knight g e5, and let's say we go knight takes e5, and then d takes e5, or knight takes e5, that just looks good for white. So I don't like queen f7 if I don't have to. Um,
That's totally correct. Your analysis until here.
I'm still looking at h5 because if we play h5, then, well, I guess g4 could still be played though. No, it couldn't. It couldn't. So,
Yeah.
yeah, h5. It's ugly. Like I don't like. I really don't like moving pawns in front of my king. Um, I don't play the king's Indian, so I don't. I never feel it. It's yeah, I hate doing this type of thing, but um, here it might not be that bad. So h5. Let's say knight g e5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's still kind of nice for white. We yeah, because like let's say we go knight takes e5 and then knight f takes e5 is kind of a yeah. That looks that looks pretty good for white. Um,
Well, first of all, white is already quite good from the initial position.
mm.
The thing is that h5 is the right move here. It's one of the right move here. h5 or c5. Okay.
Oh,
And
c5.
why is the move? Yeah, c5 also is another idea.
Yeah, because there's a interception or intersection on g2.
Exactly. Yeah, and we want to try to open this
Yeah.
diagonal for the bishop. Yeah. But both ideas are quite great because you are playing according to your plan, according to what you want to do. Because first of all, my opponent is not threatening anything with this bishop here. Because right now, a move like, for example, knight h4. For example, we play a5, knight h4 is not possible. It's in, putting more pressure on that print, but we go backwards now, knight f7, and now knight f5 is not possible because there is only one knight that can jump there. Okay, so yeah, that's the right thought process. Okay, we have to realize that actually my opponent is not threatening anything, so we can play our threats, our moves, our plans, and h5 it's good. Yeah, after knight f g knight g to e5, black is still a little bit better, but I mean, you can still play this. Okay, you can play something like knight takes e5, and after knight takes e5, I would consider move the queen. I wouldn't like to move the bishop, trade the bishop for the knight. And then, yeah, play some normal moves. For example, there is this cool line, cool pressure here on f2. And yeah, some moves like that.
Okay. That knight's a monster though, man. That on e5.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But as we said, in this position, white is already slightly better for, white's already slightly more comfortable.
Okay.
But yeah, great. What I want to express with this kind of position that we are analyzing is that sometimes you need to analyze the most crazy, the most aggressive replies from the opponent, and sometimes they work, but sometimes they don't, like in this example. Okay, great. So let's move on to one more. Okay, for this one over here, it's quite interesting. Okay. How? You see the position? You don't see the position, right?
No, I don't see.
Okay. And now?
I see it. Okay.
So okay, again, let's focus from the black perspective. Okay, let's see this position from the black's perspective.
Okay.
And first of all, it's what opening is this?
Najdorf.
Nadorf, you sure?
It looks well. It sure looks like it. Except the fianchetto on the king side is wouldn't be a Najdorf.
And the Nadorf is with the pawn on e6.
Oh,
or
right,
b5,
right,
as
right,
you
right.
like.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, White's position looks like Najdorf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like White is 100% Najdorf, so that's why.
In other way,
But,
yeah. You're right.
so I don't know how Black. I only know the openings that I play, and I'm super strict with my openings. I don't deviate. I only play one opening for everything.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that. That's actually
Yeah. Like I would put
happen a lot.
MVL to shame. Like
Oh,
I don't
okay.
deviate at all. I go super. I'm super strict, super deep, so that I just know everything really well. And yeah.
Great.
So
Great.
that's why White instantly looks like a Najdorf to me, but Black. I don't know. Maybe it's. I guess it could be a dragon. It could be a dragon.
It's a drag. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a drag.
Okay.
And well, in this position, White played g4. A normal move, and sometimes
Ooh, sorry.
we.
Is this from a? Is this a world championship game?
No, this not.
Okay.
This is from to FIDE Masters.
Okay.
It would be great from
Okay.
for a championship. Yeah. It seems like the position from Anatoly Karpov in one game.
I think that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, because it's similar, and then he does something with a rook, something here.
Yeah.
There's something with the rook there. Okay, that's and I'm trying to remember who he was playing. Was it?
I don't remember the opponent.
Was it Kasparov?
No. It was a Russian guy, Khalifman. I think I'm not quite sure. I'm quite sure that if I Google Anatoly Karpov and Dragon, I'm quite sure that that game is going to appear.
Yeah, because it's like that's a very famous game, but I can't remember who he was playing.
Yeah. Oh, we are both. Yeah. It's another Russian, but it's the oldest, I think, Grandmaster Russian right now. Oh, I read that he died some months ago. Not quite sure. It's Kornoy.
Oh, Korchnoi.
Korchnoi, yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. So but that was in the world champ. I thought it is a world championship game.
Oh, it's a final. I think here it's a final 97-4, but I'm not sure if it's a world championship.
Oh no,
a final of
I mean, sorry, I meant the game that the Korchnoi Karpov game.
Mm-hmm.
That I thought that was the world championship game.
Yeah, no, I think because it's here it's a final.
Okay.
So yeah, the only final that might be, I think it's.
Okay, yeah, because that reminds me of this position, like that Karpov game reminds of this.
It's similar.
Okay, so G4.
Yeah, and sometimes people who plays the dragon, they see G4 like a normal move, and they would play his plan over the queen side, something like knight c4, a6, b5. I don't know. But actually, G4 right now, in this particular position, is threatening something already. So, well, how would you think with black?
Ooh, man, I don't play the dragon, but I play against it as white. So,
Great.
Well, I mean, against the dragon, there's always like h4 sack mate, right? So,
actually, that's a plan.
Yeah. So let's consider the most obvious, or for me, which would be G5, but I don't know, because then black can just play knight H5 and blockade that H pawn, and if G5, knight H5, F4.
You're starting to calculate the red move. Yeah, what happened in the line?
Yeah, then I'm guessing the knight c4. Um, I'm wondering if then bishop takes c4, rook takes h4, and then maybe f5. But black might still have some resources to attack on the king side still. I wonder if there's something stronger for white here.
So would you argue that g5 is not a threat right now?
I don't think well, yeah, I think black can get away with it. So g4, knight h5, f4, and knight c4. I don't see anything too fantastic for white. I think white is good there, but I don't think white has any winning ideas there.
Well, we have to consider first of all what in that position.
Well, we have to consider like crazy moves from white, or what white is planning or threatening here with g4.
Or checks also might work. Applying the same concept but in the other way. So basically g5, knight h5, f4, knight c4. In that position we need to ask ourselves the same that we do about to basically find good tactical moves, which is what are the possible checks in that position. Can you see any?
After knight c4?
After knight c4 in that line, yeah. g5, knight h5,
Yeah.
f4, knight c4. What is a possible check there? Can you see?
Oh, what? The queen d4. And now, yeah, the double attack on the knight and the king. Oh man, yeah.
It's not the end of the line, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If you follow that a little bit more, you are going to see that you are losing a piece.
Well, I mean, we move the king, or and then bishop takes c4.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Great. So we can see that g5 actually it's a threat. It's doing something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So next question: how can we play?
Well, there's many things that we could do, but they might not be great. I mean, we could just play h6, for example. But h6, maybe like h4. White is still on the attack. I'm wondering about knight c4 right away. Knight c4, let's say. I mean, knight c4 can't be that bad. If bishop takes, rook takes.
And in the position, the most craziest aggressive replies.
Okay. Well, sacks the exchange. So sacks the exchange, but I mean, I already considered that, but I didn't see anything immediately after it. So like taking on c6.
No,
actually,
I'm trying to mean after knight c4. Knight c4, bishop takes.
Okay. After
rook takes.
Wait, you mean knight c4 as the first move here? So knight c4, bishop takes c4, and then something crazy.
Yeah, after bishop takes c4, we need to take the bishop. Rook takes c4, and in that position, imagine that we are playing this with black.
Yeah.
If we are going to calculate this line, we need to consider the most craziest. Yeah, the craziest replies from the opponent. So in the position, after rook c4, what can my opponent play that is aggressive, that is doing crazy things, basically? It's not easy to find, though.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that our king is pinned by the knight. So if the queen, but the thing is the rook is defending d4. Okay, let me look at this again. So knight c4, bishop takes c4, rook takes c4. I'm trying to get the queen. I'm trying to get a double attack in somehow with the queen. I mean, if I go g5 first, the knight moves somewhere. And, you know, I would love to get the queen to d4, but...
Yeah, the rook is going to
Yeah,
take the,
yeah,
the
yeah.
queen.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I meant g5 before.
And something that I forgot to mention that we are going to talk in next session because it's a whole thing, something more, it's bigger. Is the thing that in the minigame, and we are attacking the opponent's king basically because white is attacking this king and black is attacking this king. There is no any other pawn. We need to consider the most attacking aggressive moves, and to do that, we need to focus on the opponents of the board. For example, in the position after knight c4, bishop takes, rook c4. If we are playing with white, what we are considering the white moves in the position, we need to focus on our side of the board in this case. Okay, the inside of this box basically, and try to find what are the possible moves that white can play there. In that way, we can find the most aggressive replies. For example, queen h6. Okay, it doesn't work. We can discard that. But g5 actually, g5 might be an option. Is there any other option that white can play on our side of the board, basically on the 5th rank, for example?
So the queen is only defended by one rook there. So e5 can't be taken because then well, wait.
Can't be taken at first in the first move because black can take and the bishop is still protected.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I was just about to look at move order difference. If we start with g5 and then e5, and then d7 is available to take. So if we start over, so if we go knight c4, bishop c4, rook c4, and then g5, the knight goes anywhere. Like I don't care where it goes right now, and then we play. Oh, but if we play e5, he's not obligated. He doesn't have to take. Yeah.
Get the point.
Okay.
Got the point.
Yeah.
So actually, e5 is the first move because after pawn takes, what is the move? Again, the same process. Focus on our side of the board. What my opponent can play on my side.
Yeah. So if e5 first, if he takes with if he goes d takes e5, then we have g5, and the knight can't move anywhere because it can't create a threat, and then the bishop on d7 is undefended. So
that's right.
Yeah, so knight c4, bishop c4, rook c4. The problem is e5 right away.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
So okay, so we can't play knight c4. Let me see here. Sometimes in the dragon here, black can take on g4. Black can sack on g4. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't feel that that's going to work here.
In this specific position, I don't think so too.
Yeah, because I think often too. I think in those cases, I think sometimes the bishop is on this diagonal when you can do that.
Yeah, and in most cases you get 3 or 4 pawns.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, in this position, it's difficult to find what black can play here. Because actually g4 is threatening something, and we don't know how to avoid that something easily. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the very first move I thought of was h6, but it's such a like timid move. I don't think we're really stopping. We're stopping an immediate g5, but h4 is coming. So,
yeah, that's right.
yeah,
So,
I'm having trouble finding like counterplay for black.
but because of the fact that the threat of white is actually quite annoying, the threat of g5, f4, and queen d4 check, for example, or the thing that, yeah, g5 and f4 basically that is coming, and the knight on h5 is going to be captured by the bishop on e2. That fact makes that h6 is the only possible good move here. Actually, after h6, the game is kind of equal. According to computer, obviously, after h4, we have to protect this position a bit more with black, basically, because g5 is coming. But the thing is that after g5, it's not easy to find actually a good continuation for white.
Yeah.
I mean, right now,
f4 is.
Yeah, and f4 is there. Once an opponent play f4, we are going to take on g4, and we have a knight and a bishop protecting very well on d4. So yeah, at least for keep the game, we have to play h6. Okay. In the game, actually, black played knight c4, and this is quite interesting because we are talking about the game of two FIDE masters. Okay, and knight c4 is a mistake that we, in less than 10 minutes, we discovered why is that is a mistake.
Yeah, and that's right out of the opening.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, it's something that someone being a FIDE master should see, basically. And so imagine that we are now considering or fixing the mistake of a FIDE master, applying this good thought process that we are going to apply also in our games. So yeah, the thing here is that to consider the most craziest, the craziest and the most aggressive moves, we need to check on our side of the board and see what are the possible moves that white can play there. Moves like queen e6, we saw that like for 5 seconds, and then move like g5 and e5. Yeah, and then like that is winning for white. So yeah.
So what happened? What happened in the game?
Exactly this. After e5, where black played knight e8.
Yeah.
To keep more the game, but well, now h4. Now once the knight is not on f6, now the attack is much stronger. Yeah. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, e5. Yeah, h4. And well, black also helped white playing h5. And well, from here after pawn takes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It takes like 10 moves more to check my opponent. Yeah. Okay. Any doubt about this example?
Nope.
Great. Okay. So that's the process that we need to apply. Sometimes, yeah, first of all, we have to check for the most aggressive option for us, but sometimes we need to avoid the opponent's ideas. Yeah. Great. And it's difficult sometimes to what is the difference? What is better in our game? So, okay, let's move on to the next position. Okay. This is from a game of two grandmasters, Vasily Ivanchuk and Godakamsky.
Okay.
Imagine that we are playing with black. Okay. And where my opponent played c4. This is a good position to calculate. How would you think here with black?
Okay, let's see here. Interesting position. Let's see. Okay, well
it's done the last one.
Okay. The first thing that I look at is the discovery on the queen, but if we do that, the queen might just take the rook, potentially, on d8. But I could still explore that a little bit further. Um, for example, let's say knight takes f4. Queen can't take because we can take the rook. Um, although, yeah, we're still good there, even if he takes on. Well, hang on. No, this is complex actually.
Yeah, it's not that easy to
Yeah,
make the conclusions.
yeah, because then f6 is it might be an issue. Like if we go knight takes
Yeah.
f4, queen takes f4, rook takes d3. There is knight f6 check, and I don't think we're any better there. We should be worse. So,
Totally agree.
but I'm still going to go back to that and just see if there's just a different second move. If we go knight f4, queen f4, um, uh, like we could. No, we could. No, nothing. That just doesn't work. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah. But you gotta look at the discoveries, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Um, I don't think any discovery is going to work because yeah, white will always take on d8.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, and yeah, so okay, interesting.
So basically, the problem would be that we can't move the knight on d5.
hmm So I'm looking now if we decide to trade knight. So maybe I take on h5, which is very scary because there's rook g3 check. Let's say we go. Let's say we go king h8, um, and then maybe c takes d5. It's not looking so great. It's I don't know. It's a little unclear to me on how I evaluate that position, but I don't think black has gained any ground there. Um,
Okay. By the way, this is from a Sicilian night of game.
uh, 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 sorry. Oh, a Sicilian Nydorf game.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, I've never seen one like this. Interesting. Okay.
But you
I'm
got the idea.
I'm looking at bishop c5 is interesting. Bishop c5. There's knight f5 check. Um, and I guess that's actually something I should have looked at before. That knight f6 is a threat here. Um,
Yeah.
so if we go bishop c5, knight f6, let's say king g or king f7. And then let's say the thing is white only has one. No, he'll have two squares then. Then he can go to the e file. So like queen e4 or queen e5. And we have not gained anything out of that whatsoever. But bishop c5, I'm looking at that again because that's interesting because white's queen only has one square in that like immediately. He only has queen d4.
Oh,
So
and what is the most aggressive reply for white in the operation? Because I don't think that after bishop c5, white only move is queen e4.
yeah,
Okay,
well
if we
there's
look,
yeah there's knight
uh-huh.
f6.
Not only that, but with the queen, with the queen, what is the most aggressive
Oh well he could
possible reply?
yeah I guess he could just take the bishop.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, whoops. Okay. Okay,
So
well,
actually,
if we look at the craziest move again, I mean, I still don't like that knight f6, but I'm looking now at e5 because, first of all, now f6 is protected twice, and we are attacking his queen. So e5. Therefore, white really only has. White has multiple choices, but let's consider if he takes. Let's say e5, f takes e5.
Mm.
Um, oh, we could now. Uh, so sorry. So f. So e5. F takes e5.
F takes e5.
Yeah, I was looking at knight f4, but that doesn't work because he just takes with the queen. Um,
And also to calculate this line, I'm thinking that if you go to calculate f takes e5, you are going to spend much time because that line is quite confused. It's not clear, at
yeah,
least for
yeah.
both sides. But if we ask ourselves what is the most possible reply, aggressive reply from the opponent after e5, I think that we can see something more, yeah, something easier to calculate.
Oh, I guess he could still go. I guess maybe he still can go knight takes f6. We can't take it with the knight because then there's no, because then we could take. So
Mm-hmm. So knight f6 don't work.
yeah.
So check don't work. What is the next one?
So e5. Oh, there's c takes d takes yeah c takes d5.
Yeah,
I forgot about that guy.
exactly. So you see that after you see cd5, you completely discard the knight. That's what I'm trying to mean by stopping in one position and see what are all the possible moves. Because if you're able to see one move that discard that line at the whole line right away, you are going to save time in area position. Yeah.
Mm,
So e5 discard.
mm,
We have to discard that because
yeah.
we are easy.
Oh man, I don't know how I missed. Yeah, c takes d5. I didn't see that until now. Yeah, because yeah. Okay, so
This is quite it's interesting because you got the point, you got the move, the first move, but then you confused about other ideas. I think that yeah, you should follow your intuition a little bit more. Because you got the point at first that we can't move the knight, otherwise the pawn f6 is going to be it's going to be hanging, and also the rook on the 8.
mhm.
And also we would be playing reactive chess because my opponent is attacking the knight, we move the knight. Right now we can take the knight g6, the line that you calculate. The only bad thing is that after you rook g3, you only calculate king h8. If here in this position we can stop for a moment and see what are all the possible candidate moves, I think that we're going to find a better one. Am I right?
Well, yeah, I kind of stopped here because I thought I thought black wasn't gaining anything here. Like if we go king f7, and then c takes d5, and I guess rook takes d5. Um, although what did we gain a pawn there? Four, five, six. Maybe we gained a
Yeah,
pawn.
actually, yeah. Yep, that's
So
right.
so king f7, yeah, c takes d5, rook takes d5, and I don't see anything good for white there.
Exactly, we stopped the opponent's attack actually with this variation. Now, the only thing is that actually, once I analyzed the position, I was sure that king f7 was the move because after pawn takes we can take with the rook, and that's all. I was 100% sure. But I mean, Grandmaster plays another level because they evaluate that bishop g7 it's much better because after pawn takes we are not going to take with the rook, we are going to take with the pawn. Why? Because we open the line for the rook and we create a passed pawn, which is quite important in the endgame. So yeah, the thing is that after this variation, we also protect the pawn on f6 with the queen. And well, in this variation, we won a pawn, and we are going to win the endgame much more games later. But the thing is that this is the only possible variation if we want to stop the opponent's attack and yeah, start to increase our advantage basically.
Yeah, I mean that's very hard. Like the bishop on g7 and the pawn at f6, it looks like
Yeah, it looks
you wouldn't
exactly.
consider it, right?
I wouldn't consider it too. I mean, again, if you told me that king f6 is also, I'm quite 100% sure
Yeah.
that it's the move that most of people would play because after pawn takes, rook takes, again, the position is quite great for black. White has no checks, and we are completely in control of this square of this line. Sorry, and yeah, this is completely fine for black.
Yeah. So when I originally calculated this and I played king h8, whoops, king h8 here. I'm trying to remember why I abandoned it. I think it just didn't look like enough for me. I think I kind of just stopped it here, right? I kind of just thought like I'm not sure if I said this, but I just thought it wasn't enough. I think that's why I abandoned it, right?
Yeah, and I'm quite
Well,
sure that
actually,
yeah, maybe you don't see
here.
it in your calculation, but you saw that at some point the opponent stick was hanging and that white can checkmate us at some point. Yeah. But the thing is that we calculate so fast that we calculate that king h8 is the only move. And again, if we can slow down our calculation process, because you calculate very well, you calculate precise. The only thing is that you calculate quickly. Okay, you calculate too fast, too quickly basically. You go for the line and you go for that line until the end. And if we can stop during all the moves that we're going to analyze, I think that we can do a better job. Yup, yeah.
Okay.
So what? Any doubt?
What was
Clear?
that? What?
Any doubt?
Any
Any doubt?
thought?
Doubt.
Doubt.
No,
Oh,
doubt.
any doubt?
Doubt.
No. That makes sense. Yeah, this one that was quite tricky because the position feels, yeah, this one the position just feels unclear. But I totally stopped it at king h8. Even though I 100% knew that I never went down, that I didn't look at the king f7 and bishop g7 lines. I know that they were there, but I just, I guess I got lazy and I just kind of shrugged it off. I thought, yeah, it's all the same,
No, but it's great. Yeah, because you are the first step to improve in chess is being aware of the mistakes that we do in our games. And the thing that you are being aware that you didn't calculate these moves or you didn't consider it because you get lazy and you see that it was totally crushing for black. It's great. I mean, you are being aware of that little mistake, and that's the first step, I guess. Then we need to train this. Then we need to somehow be aware of the game that we can miss these possibilities. Yeah, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so do you have time to one more position?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Okay, great. Okay. Sorry, I forgot the. Okay, where is? Sorry, I mixed up the files for a moment, so give me a sec to find again the right file.
Yeah.
Where is? Oh, I have to arrange this somehow. Oh, here. Yeah. Okay. Okay, well, this is difficult. Well, this is going to be a little bit harder.
Uh-oh.
It's from a World Championship too.
Okay.
But I'm quite sure that you know this position. Uh, well, let's see. Well, imagine that you're playing with white.
No, I don't.
Have you ever seen this
I
position
don't know
before?
it. No.
Okay, great. Well, I'm not. Well, do I say the names? Do I say the names of the black and white player?
Sorry. The.
The names. Do I say the name?
Oh. Well, yeah. It won't help me if you say it.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, exactly. Well, for white is a guy called Magnus Carlsen. Have you ever heard
Yeah.
about
I
him? It's
think
just
maybe once.
a
Yeah. He's pretty.
okay, yeah, yeah. And with black, older guy, which is Viswanathan Anand.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, with black, he played Rook D to G8.
Okay.
How you think here with white? This is difficult, but let's see. Let's see how you think. It's an angry position.
Ah. Okay. Is it, is this from their World Championship match or?
Yep.
Okay. That was before I got into chess, so that's why I'm not familiar with it. Okay, so let's see here. Well, let's look at the captures, since there's no checks. So let's look at. We can start with Bishop G6. Um, and I guess we'll say F takes G6. But if F takes G6, then we can take on H6, and that has to be good for us. So therefore, if Bishop G6, Rook takes G6, that's still good for us, because we can just go Rook takes G6, F takes G6, and then Rook takes on H6. So that's certainly looking good. Bishop G6. Now there's got to be a catch, so I'm looking here. I
The
was
catch is that after that line, once you got Rook H6 and Rook H6 and Bishop H6, you have to ask yourself if that's the end of the line. And to know if that's the end of the line, we need to look at possible checks or captors. If there is any other captor,
I guess now
play,
black can take on G2.
and yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a draw position with opposite color pictures. That's right.
Okay. Yeah. And double pawn for white. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I knew it'd be too easy. So
No.
okay, so I wonder if we have time to play F3 to stop that. It's a slow move. I wonder, do we have time? Probably not. I'm wondering though why Anand played Rook G8. He must.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
My opponent is doing something with
Yeah.
Rook D8.
Yeah, I've heard Anand is pretty good. I don't think he just did that for no reason. Okay, so there's an X-ray on G2. And I wonder if he could take on E5. Knight takes E5. Probably not, because then just Rook takes G8 and then Rook G8.
Intermediate move. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
actually, a move that you told me earlier, F3, is possible. Okay, it's a good move to decrease the activity of this bishop. I like that move actually, and also you're protecting the knight in the rook in e4. So actually, Viswanathan, the world champion, is doing something concrete by playing rook d to g8. What's your opinion? Yes or not, or?
well, I have
He
no
has to.
idea what he's doing, but yeah, I mean, obviously he's got a plan. He's not going to make a move like that with no plan. And that's why I was looking at the discovery of knight takes e5, but that can't.
And that actually this position has no solution, But the solution is that you need to calculate 95, if that makes sense. The solution is that you need to calculate 95 and realize that it doesn't work in this particular position.
Okay.
So basically, you got the yeah the sorry
Like the
I lost
idea
the word.
of the
Yeah, the
position.
idea of the
Okay.
puzzle basically. Yeah. Because from this position you can play whatever move, rook f3, rook g3, not rook a6, h6 or bishop g6. We already calculated that. But both moves are totally okay. The only thing is that we need to be aware that this doesn't work. So what Magnus Carlsen did in the game? He played king d2, and now
No rush. Yeah.
and now how would you play now with black? Considering the last move that we talked earlier.
Well, 95 looks more dangerous now because there is a Russian Zug on c4.
Exactly, that's the point. That's actually the point. But we need to calculate a little bit. Let's practice calculation.
Okay.
Knight takes e5.
Yeah, so if rook g8, rook takes g8, knight c4, let's say king e2.
King e2 is the most aggressive move for white because, I mean, the opponent's rook is here and the opponent's knight is here. So I would play king d3 to attack this rook and attack this piece.
To attack the rook? Where?
Yeah, because, I mean, the white's rook is on g8. Knight a5, rook g8, right? And in the position knight c4 check.
Oh, no. The line I said was 95, rook g8, and oh right, yeah, okay. I got mixed up. Okay, yeah. So I forgot. I thought we didn't take already. So knight c4 exactly. Check, king e3. Now there's two pieces under attack. Okay, yeah. King e3. I guess rook takes g8, and king takes c4, and I guess a6 is going to fall no matter what. So I guess we would go rook takes g2.
But we have two pieces, and the opponent has three pieces in the position. Yeah.
Okay. So that's not possible.
There's a move that we need to find that is quite difficult, but I would be happy if you find it.
Okay, let me see here again. So, so in this position, it's black to move. So knight e5, rook takes g8, knight c4 check, king e3. I'm looking for another Zwishin Zug. Let me think here. There's actually b5 check. If b5 check, that is looking pretty good. b5 check, king goes anywhere. Rook takes g8. And then white takes on a6.
Sorry, can you repeat the whole line for me?
Yeah.
I get confused a lot.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, my mind works weird. So knight takes e5, rook takes g8, knight c4 check, king e3. Then rook takes g8, king takes c4. Then I was looking at b5 check, and then let's say king b3. Let's say c4 check, king b2. maybe rook takes b2, and then maybe rook or bishop takes on a6. Um,
And what is the evaluation of the position? You think that it's winning for black?
well, I guess white still has
A piece up.
two bishops against knight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So after
If we can, after.
okay, well, after if we look at that same line, instead of b5 check, I guess that still won't even, no matter what, that's not going to work. If white takes on c4, that's just white is already ahead. There's nothing that black can do there.
Exactly. So we need to avoid king takes c4 at some point. How can we do it? Is there something that we can play in that position once the king goes to d3?
So okay, so 95 rook takes g8, knight c4, king e3.
And the most important move.
Well, I mean, I looked very briefly, but maybe too briefly, at king takes knight takes e5 check, but then I immediately discarded it because of rook takes e5, and I still think that doesn't do anything.
Is there any other check with the knight?
I guess it might be safe on b2, knight b2 check, and then let's say king back to d2 or e2, and then rook takes g8, and we've saved the knight, and we still have the bishop.
That's right. That's the solution. Yeah, it's quite difficult because we have to, at this point, once the opponent goes to d3, we have to stop our calculation process for a bit and see what are all the possible moves. Because if we consider the most obvious, which is basically take the rook, we are going to be down on material.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we need to stop for a moment and see what are all the possible checks. Yeah, this is a check, but it doesn't work. But this one.
Yeah, I often make this mistake when calculating. I think I calculated right, and then at the end of it, I'm like, wait, why am I down a piece? Why am I down a piece? I thought I calculated it right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you go so fast that you missed how you are, where are your pieces, how many pieces you have.
Yeah.
But great. I mean, again, the first step to improving chess is being aware of our mistakes when we are thinking. Not even playing, when we are thinking. I mean, the way we can fix those bad habits.
Okay, so if I could recap the two main themes of today's lesson. The first one is quite clear to me, which is basically it's related to what we did yesterday, but instead, when we are calculating our opponent's moves, his possible candidate moves, we should consider his most crazy, aggressive possibilities, even if they don't work. Just give them some
at least for 5 seconds. Yeah,
give them some brief consideration. And then kind of another thing that was touched upon a few times is when I'm calculating, maybe sometimes I jump over moves. It's not, my thought process is kind of scattered. It's not linear. And
yeah, exactly. And we need to make it linear at some point, or at least also slow down.
A bit more procedural, when I looked at king h8 or whatever it was,
exactly. Yeah.
I didn't.
That's a good example.
Yeah, I didn't consider the bishop move or king f7. Well, I mean, I knew that they were there. I knew when I said king h8, I thought, okay, maybe later I'll go back to those, but I never did.
Yeah. So let's put it in simple words. I'm quite sure that you calculate more than your rating. I mean, I'm really saying this because you calculate fast and you calculate long, which is quite impressive. But if you can combine this, and you at the same time that you calculate long and fast, you calculate all the possible moves that make sense, or at least, okay, moves like bishop g7 or king f7, that you don't forget those moves. Imagine how good can you calculate in area position. Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised that you say I calculate more than my rating, because I thought my calculation was really terrible. I thought my calculating was maybe more like 1500 Lichess.
No, but I'm just meaning.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm just meaning in the way that you calculate where in long, basically. Okay. If I put you a position where the winning line is checkmate in 50 moves, for example,
Mm-hmm.
just to put an example, and there is only one possible line to find a checkmate, I'm quite sure that you are going to find a checkmate. Okay, obviously I'm being much more,
Generous.
yeah. um, but the thing is that if I get you a line of 50 moves, but it's only that line are only 40 moves and it's just away, I'm quite sure that you are going to see that faster. But if I put you in a position where the solution is 3 moves, but
Yeah.
you have to consider between these 3 moves a lot of candidate moves, you are going to get confused, basically.
Yeah. So in sharper positions, I really struggle. Yeah, if there's a lot of, and also something you haven't learned about me yet, but when there's like a lot of pawn possibilities, like if there's like, when there's like, let's say 2 black pawns here, 2 white pawns here, that really messes me up, calculating that type of thing.
You see?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So what we are talking about, yeah, because you have a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
You don't have only one take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
And so
Okay.
and the best way for me to address that is just to spend time, like spend more time trying to make sure I didn't miss any of the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be sure that you first of all consider this move. First of all, you go all long as you know as you can with this move, and then you go for this move, but in order, without this.
I know that's what I do. I know.
Without this.
I know. First I go here, and then I calculate all that, and then I go here, and then later, okay, back here again, and
Exactly. Yeah, that's something that we want to avoid. Yeah.
and that's actually what I think. I think that's what Kotov was trying to say, but he made it so difficult. He made it so convoluted, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think he had like a procedural way to do it, but it was way too scientific and not realistic.
Exactly.
I think.
The idea it was great, but in practical, again, and we are not even talking about intuition because you can calculate this move, but you are not going to never know if that move is right. You have to at some point trust in your intuition between this and this move. And your intuition is related to calculation too. So yeah, and something that, for example, Kotov mentioned that you need to calculate and evaluate this position until the end and this one. And I mean, in practice, you never calculate everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Mauricio. I appreciated it. I look forward to our next one.
Great. Sure.
Okay.
Set up for that. Great.
Okay. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.